Good evening and welcome into the Rewind Sports Network on KSLSports.com. Alex Napoli is here with you as we bring you Region 3 boys soccer action. It's the Lone Peak Knights getting ready to take on the American Fork Cavemen. Here's the situation, the scenario coming into the game tonight, as there is a three-way tie at the top of Region 3. Lone Peak, American Fork, and Skyridge all sitting at 6-2 in region play. Everything to play for here tonight for both sides, as the winner will inch closer to holding up a region title. It is the Lone Peak Knights in their home black. They'll be going to the left of your screen here in the first half. And it is the American Fork Cavemen in their visiting whites. And they'll be going to the right of your screen here in the first half. Moments away from kickoff here at Lone Peak High School. The whistle, the ball's rolling, and we're underway. Lone Peak get us started off. This ball played over the top. And it'll go all the way back to Nettesheim, who boots it away. Throw-in coming up here for the Lone Peak Knights over on that far sideline. For the home side, the Lone Peak Knights coming to this one at 13-2 overall, 6-2 in Region 3, again tied at the top of this region with their rivals. They were the number one team in the RPI in the initial rankings. A couple days away now from the final RPI rankings. Here as Lone Peak in possession on the near sideline. It's Stevenson. Ball played wide now to Kubias. And that ball will go through and booted away by the American Fork Cavemen defense. Ball coming back out to the Lone Peak. Brought in by the Knights here in possession. Campbell. Campbell plays in the middle for Shin. Excuse me, that was Kubias who tried to play it back out. Intercepted. And that one will go out of bounds and out. A goal kick coming up here for the Cavemen. Opportunity to hold on to possession. Lone Peak. A lot of impressive non-region wins under their belts. Beat Dixie 4-1 earlier this year. Beat Wasatch, the defending 5A champions, 4-2. And they beat Layton Christian 3-2. Impressive resume for the home side in non-region. 2 losses in region play, one coming to Pleasant Grove. 2-2, the final ended up going to the penalty shootout to decide the winner, and they fell 4-3. And then these two sides have already faced each other once. American Fork got the better of Lone Peak, winning that game at American Fork 3-0. 37 goals scored on the season for the Knights, 15 goals conceded. Throwing for Lone Peak over on that far sideline. Under first-year head coach Benjamin Nilsson. Ball back in play. A whistle and a foul will call. This one will go against American Fork. As the Knights here with an opportunity off the free kick to whip one in and create an opportunity. Taken quickly by the Knights. Ball over on that far sideline with Lovelady. Now into the middle for Shin. Looking for options. Shin loses possession to Connect. Lewis Connect. Back in possession here are the Knights. Over on the near side with Rafa Morales. Morales will play it wide to Campbell. Campbell supports himself with Stevenson. Stevenson plays in the middle for Kubias, who tries to get it back to Stevenson. Intercepted. One back quickly by Lone Peak. Here in possession is Bailey. Bailey will play it to Rafa Morales. Morales to Campbell. Campbell plays it back. Here's Bailey. Ball floated in over the top. One back by the American Fork Cavemen. Here comes Lewis Connect in possession with time and space. Connect gets past one. Still in possession, Connect goes to ground. The whistle and a foul called. Quentin Bailey comes across defensively and commits the foul. Free kick coming up here for American Fork in a dangerous spot. Connect already standing over it to take. Lewis Connect. 2 on the wall for the Knights. And Knights goalkeeper Kendall setting everybody up to that far post. Connect standing over it. The shot from distance over the bar. And out for the goal kick. First shot, first opportunity for American Fork goes over the bar as Connect can't keep it on frame. Out of bounds and out. A goal kick coming up here for the Lone Peak Knights. Candle takes it quickly. For the American Fork Cavemen, they come into this one at 10-2 overall, 6-2 in region play. Again, tied, a 3-way tie at the top of Region 3. And they were the number 2 team in the latest RPI rankings. As the foul here against American Fork. Lone Peak will have a free kick coming up. Slow to get up is Nettesheim. For American Fork. Ball coming back now for Lone Peak as they have a free kick in a dangerous spot. Opportunity to whip a ball in and try to create some chaos off the set piece. 34-28 left to go here in the first half, all tied up at 0-0. Ball floated in, goes back post. Stevenson and Campbell both there. Neither can get on the end of it. And it goes out of bounds and out for the goal kick. Again, for the defending 6A champions, 10-2 overall, 6-2 in Region 3 play. They've outscored their non-region opponents 25-2 this year. They're a very high-scoring, very good defensive team, this American Fork side. Beat Manti, Snow Canyon, Taylorsville, and Skyview in the non-region play. Played Lone Peak already once this year. Ended up winning that one 3-0. Their 2 losses in region play comes to Lehigh. That one ended in a 3-3 draw. Went 5-4 to the penalty spot to decide the winner. And then Skyridge getting the better of the Cavemen 3-1. Those are their 2 losses in region play. 43 goals scored on the season for the Cavemen and 10 goals conceded. Stevenson here on the near sideline for Lone Peak. Through ball to Rafa Morales. Morales with time and space, looking for options, crosses it in, and cleared away by American Fork only momentarily as Lone Peak back in possession quickly. Lovelady loses the ball. Now American Fork coming the other way with Osborne. Osborne through ball out wide. And here come the Cavemen. Ball cut inside into the box, poked away, comes out to connect. Now Osborne near the top of the 18 goes down, ball won back momentarily by the Caveman. Larson with a heavy deflection comes off of Dimitri Larson, out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up for Lone Peak over on that far sideline. .32-21 left to go here in the first. Ball back in play with the Knights. Zabriskie playing it out wide here to the near side for Campbell. Campbell through ball up the sideline, trying to connect with Cubillas. Instead, it goes out of bounds and out. Another throw-in coming up for American Fork. Players to keep an eye on and watch this evening for the home side. Lone Peak, number 17, Larkin, 7 goals, 1 assist on the year. Number 11, Stevenson, 6 goals, 6 assists. And Shin, number 14, with 4 goals and 4 assists. Those are players to watch tonight for Lone Peak. Whistle and a foul called. American Fork ball. As standing over it to take will be Brinkeroff for the Cavemen. Brinkeroff will whip one in. Heavy wind floats it into the box. And it goes out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up for the Cavemen. Players to watch for American Fork. Number 99, Lewis Connect. 19 goals, 10 assists on the season. One of the state's leading goal scorers. Number 9, Osborne with 6 goals, 3 assists. Number 10, Hall with 5 goals, 6 assists. And then give a quick shout-out to Dingus, their goalkeeper, 5 shutouts on the season. Ball goes out of bounds and out. A corner kick coming up here for the Cavemen. Just about 10 minutes played here in the first half. Connect coming to the near sideline to take the corner. Set piece opportunity for American Fork. Everybody lined up near the top of the 18. Connect will whip it in. Goes back post. Floats through. No one there on the end of it. Rosenthal lets that one roll out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up for the Lone Peak Knights. Ball played in. Here's Bailey, who boots it away. Quickly went back by American Fork. And now Lone Peak trying to hit on a quick counter. Zabriskie played it out wide to Campbell. Campbell up the sideline. Past the 50. Gets it to Stevenson. And Connect here in possession for American Fork. Nicely done to win that ball back. Gubler. Gubler will go back to Brinkeroff. Brinkeroff will boot this one over the top, looking for Osborne. Nicely cut out there by Quentin Bailey for Lone Peak. Ball over on that far sideline now. Goes out wide. And a heavy touch. It goes out of bounds and out for the Lone Peak goal kick. Taken quickly. Here's Campbell, who will bring it up the sideline for the Knights. Gets it in to Morales. Morales plays it to Shin. Shin will float one in over the top. Trying to get Stevenson running off the end of it, but a little too much on the pass. It'll go safely back to Jackson Dingus. Dingus. Watching some time come off that clock for the Cavemen. Ball back now with Dingus. Heavy touch. Stolen away by the Knights. Here's Cubillas, who puts it into the box. Nobody there. Gubler will boot this one away, and Dingus escapes off the mistake. Bad giveaway there by the American Fork goalkeeper. Defensively, American Fork doing a good job to clear that one away. Could have been a dangerous opportunity there for Lone Peak to take the lead. Instead, a throw-in for the Knights here in the attacking third over on that far sideline as we try to get the ball back in play. Lovelady to throw it in. Into the box. Comes down to Shin. Goes out of bounds. Excuse me, that's Cubillas. Out of bounds off of American Fork. And a corner kick coming up for the Lone Peak Knights. Cubillas, 2 hands in the air. Set piece opportunity. Ball whipped in. Goes back post. The header over Dingus off the post and cleared away. Huge opportunity there for Lone Peak to take a lead. The header bounces over Dingus, comes crashing off the crossbar, and then ultimately goes out. A goal kick coming up here for American Fork. But the Knights are knocking. So close there for the home side to take a lead. Instead, again, American Fork will clear their lines. Ball comes down now to Lone Peak as they regain possession here in the middle of the park with Shin. Shin plays it out to Lovelady. Trying to take it up the sideline, cuts inside. Lovelady pokes it through. Nobody there. Nettesheim trying to clear that one away. Here's with Hess. In the middle of the park now for Gubler. Gubler goes back to Brinkeroff. Brinkeroff with a heavy pass. Out of bounds and out. Good pressure from Lone Peak to force the mistake. And it goes out of bounds and out. Lone Peak here have a throw-in in the attacking third. Ball played in. Out to the 18. Cubillas is inside the box, trying to get the shot off. Huge defensive play there from American Fork. Cubillas goes down. Ball cleared away. And now ball coming down the other way with Connect. Losing out possession. Here's Rafa Morales. Knights back in possession. Stevenson. Nice pass looking back for Morales. Now here's Gubler losing out the ball. Nash. Lands at Cubillas. Trying to turn. Nedesheim is there. Ball coming the other way with Miller Hall. Now Osborne. Heavy touch. Crandall off his line. And Connect ends up with the ball. Goes down. Nothing called. Ball cleared away. Maxwell Candle came off his line. It seemed like he got a piece of Connect there. Nicely done defensively by the Knights. Lovelady coming across and making a tackle. Doing a good job there to deny. American Fork quickly going the other way, but Ben Hess down afterwards. Now we'll have a stoppage in play as they attend to Ness. This game is at the moment completely wide open. Both sides having good opportunity. The most clear one, though, coming from Lone Peak off the post. Still trying to stop the clock. 30 seconds came off the clock. Ben Ness back on his feet. As we get ready to resume play. And we have a stoppage now to switch out the ball, as the ball doesn't seem to have enough air. Throwing coming up here for American Fork. Ball back in play. It's Connect who leaves it for Hall. Hall looking for options. Gets it to Larson. Dimitri Larson. Leaves it. Now back to Larson. Larson tries to get it out wide to Hess. And ball cleared away, out of bounds and out. Another throw-in coming up here for the home side. Lovelady to throw it in for Lone Peak over on that far sideline. Ball goes back out of play off of Nedesheim. Throw in coming up again for Lone Peak. Lovelady on that far sideline looking to play the ball back in. Headed away by Miller Hall. Out of bounds once more. Another throw-in coming up for the home side. Lovelady gets it in. Zabriskie brings it down. Looking for options. Gets it to Morales. Morales leaves it for Campbell. Campbell to Stevenson. Stevenson up the sideline. Has Campbell back out. They play it to Campbell. Campbell into Stevenson. Stevenson up the sideline. Gets past one. Gets past two. And Gavin Nash comes across. Clears this one away. And a corner kick coming up for Lone Peak. Stevenson to take the corner for the Knights. Everybody lined up at the back post. Ball whipped in. Cleared away at the near post by American Fork. Connect. Brings it in. Trying to get past his mark. Goes down. Back to Miller Hall. Miller Hall crosses it. Rosenthal. Heavy touch. Ends up at Gubler. Gubler losing out possession. One back and a whistle. And a foul called. Rafa Morales came across, made the defensive tackle, and gets his whistled for the foul. Ball back in play here with American Fork. It's Ness to Larson. Larson losing out possession. Nicely done by the Knights to recover. Heavy touch by Morales. Rosenthal. Heavy touch. Rosenthal cuts back. Tries to play it through. Nicely defended by the Knights. And Lone Peak will boot this one away. American Fork back in possession. Here's Larson. Brings it down against Shin. Shin doing a phenomenal job coming across. Boots it away. Out of bounds and out for an American Fork throw-in. Ben Hess will throw it in. Gets it into Nettesheim. Nettesheim will play it across to Brinkeroff. Brinkeroff. Ball floated in over the top. Comes out to Connect. Connect, trying to get past Lovelady. Up the sideline. Nicely done and poked away by Lone Peak. And Connect goes down, the whistle, and a foul called. Free kick coming up here for the American Fork Cavemen in a dangerous spot. Just outside the 18. Two on the wall. It'll be 3 on the wall now for Lone Peak as Maxwell Candle sets his wall up to his near post. Hess and Miller Hall standing over it to take. Hall will whip it in. Goes near post. Ball booted away. Could have been a dangerous low-driven shot there to Max Crandall's near post. Good job defensively by the Knights to clear it away. Throw-in coming up for American Fork. 19:50 left to go here in the first half. Good start from both sides. Still tied up at 0-0. Larson losing out possession. Ball booted away by Lone Peak. Ball brought down by Brinkeroff. We'll play it back to Jackson Dingus. Gets it now to Brinkeroff. Plays it across to Nettesheim. Here comes the press from Lone Peak. Forces the mistake. Ball back with the Knights. Only momentarily, Larson pokes it away. And here comes Connect. Connect. Taking a shot from distance. Deflected. Now here's Rosenthal who crosses it in but can't keep it in. And it goes out of bounds and out for the goal kick. Substitutions here for the home side. Halvo checking in, as well as Blake Stewart. Off comes Seth Larkin and Shin. Ball quickly won back by American Fork. Campbell takes a touch. Here come the Knights with Stevenson looking for support. He'll go back and ball booted away. Kubias with the press. Brinkeroff to Hall. Nettesheim. Bad pass and a bad giveaway. Ball booted over the top. Brinkeroff will have to clear this one away as it goes out of bounds and out here on the near sideline. A throw-in coming up for the Lone Peak Knights. Campbell throws it in. Halvo. Ball won back by American Fork. Here comes Gubler. Over the top. Giving chase is Osborne. Osborne brings it in. Osborne crosses it in. Nobody there but Lone Peak as the Knights here can clear this one away. Campbell. Back to Campbell, who plays it to Morales. Kubias. Kubias goes down. A heavy foul there from Dimitri Larson. The whistle, And a free kick coming up here for Lone Peak. Ball taken by Quentin Bailey. Comes now to Stevenson. Stevenson plays it out wide to Campbell. Campbell crosses it in. Cleared away at the near post by Nettesheim. And a throw-in, or excuse me, a corner kick coming up here for the home side. .16:36 left to go. Still tied up at 0-0. Opportunity here for Lone Peak. Off the set piece to see if they can pull ahead. Ball whipped in, goes back post, headed away. And it'll go out of bounds and out over on that far sideline. A throw-in coming up for Lone Peak as they're able to retain possession in the attacking third. Lovelady to throw it in for Lone Peak. Here comes Halvo. Ball given away. Larson winning it back. Here's Connect, who goes to ground. The whistle. And a foul called. Ball going the other way for American Fork. Taken quickly. Here's Larson up the sideline. And booted away by Quentin Bailey, who comes across and makes the challenge defensively. Throw-in coming up for the Cavemen over on that far sideline. Ben Hess to throw it in. Ball in for Connect. Connect gets past two. Connect can't get past a third. Nicely done by Bailey defensively. Comes across and makes the challenge. Ball with the Knights. Quickly won back by American Fork. Here's Nettesheim with time and space. Plays it to Larson. Larson back to Nettesheim. The press from Lone Peak causes the bad giveaway. Here come the Knights. Ball out to Campbell. Campbell into the box. Takes a touch. Trying to get around. Looks like that was Jackson Noble on the defensive effort. And he goes out of bounds and out. Corner kick coming up here for Lone Peak. Set piece opportunity. Everybody at the far post. Two runners standing at the top of the 18. The ball whipped in by Stevenson. Goes back post. The header loose inside the box. Halvo is there. Can't get it off. And now ball coming the other way with American Fork as Connect trying to get past Lovelady. But Lovelady does a job defensively. Here's Bailey. Crosses it. Looking for Stevenson. Ball back with the Cavemen. Gubler, who plays it back to Brinkeroff. Across to Nettesheim. That Lone Peak press almost forced another bad pass. Cavemen quickly going down the other way with Connect. Ball back into Connect. Connect goes to ground. Noble is there. Ball cleared away. Larson for the Cavemen. Gets it back to Nettesheim with a little bit of skill. Here's Miller Hall. Hall plays it out wide to Hess. Hess plays it back to his center back in Nettesheim. Ball goes out wide. Here's Dimitri Larson. Defended by Halvo. Into Hall. Miller Hall takes a touch. Gets it to Osborne. Osborne back to Gubler. Gubler up the sideline. Trying to get it to Gavin Nash. Heavy pass. And it goes out of bounds and out for the goal kick. Or excuse me, for the throw-in. Substitution for Lone Peak as Caden Shin checking back into the game. Rafa Morales heading to the bench for a breather. Shin brings it in. Shin will go back to Bailey. Bailey plays it across to Lovelady. Up the sideline, Luke Lovelady cuts it back. Across to Jaggy. Cubillas. And a whistle and a foul called. Nice hold-up play there from Juan Cubillas for Lone Peak. forcing the foul. And now Joggy to take the free kick for the Lone Peak Knights. Taken quickly. Here's Bailey. Shin back to Bailey. Up the sideline, Campbell. Stevenson back to Shin. Shin now to Campbell. Campbell does a good job to keep that one in bounds. The cross comes in and cleared away by American Fork. Lone Peak trying to win possession back. Larson tussling up there with Shin. Shin commits the foul. Free kick coming up for American Fork with 11:38 left to go. Larson. Now Jackson Dingus, the goalkeeper. Trying to get it out to Gavin Nash. It'll go out of bounds and out. Throw-in coming up for the home side. Here's Halvo for Lone Peak. Ball goes out wide to Kubias. Kubias floats one in, headed away by Brinkeroff and booted out by Nedesheim. Lone Peak back in possession. Here's Zabriskie, who plays it to Halvo. Halvo through ball, but nobody there. It'll go safely back to Jackson Dingus. Good idea from Halvo. American Fork now back in possession with an opportunity to clear their lines. Dingus will boot this one away. Bailey comes across. The ball goes out of bounds and out. Throw in for American Fork. Hess plays it in. Miller Hall bringing it down and booted out by Lovelady. Another throw-in coming up for the Cavemen. Hess to throw it in once more for American Fork. Falls to Miller Hall. Hall still inside the box. Trying to clear it away, but the whistle and a foul called. Late whistle there on Miller Hall. And now an opportunity here for Lone Peak to boot it away and clear their lines. Almost given up quickly as Jackson Noble was there. Goes out of bounds. This one will go now for American Fork, as they'll have a throw in here on the near sideline. Gavin Nash to throw it in. Nash gets it in quick. Connect. Gets it to Larson. Larson will go back to Brinkeroff. Brinkeroff. Noble tries to poke it through. It'll go out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up here for Lone Peak. Campbell plays it in quick. Zabriskie brings it down and plays it across to Luke Lovelady. Lovelady with time and space up that far sideline. Ball filtered through into the box. Can't get on the end of it. And it goes out of bounds and out for the goal kick. Substitution coming up for the visiting side. As Dimitri Larson will head to the bench for a breather. Checking in for American Fork is going to be number 24, Jaden Brown. Goal kick here for American Fork. Ball booted up and away. One back by the Knights. Zabriskie's there. Shin plays it to Stevenson. Stevenson gets it back and across to Halvo. Halvo with a heavy touch is able to control it in. Goes out wide to Cubillas. Juan Cubillas to Shin. Back to Zabriskie. Cut out and one back by American Fork. Noble to Nash. Nash has to boot this one away. Ball comes back to Zabriskie as Lone Peak retain possession. Jaggi over the top. Giving chase, and it'll go out of bounds and out for the goal kick. Well, I take this time and opportunity to remind you that the Rewind is brought to you by Tab Bank. Tab Bank, home of the Tab Spend Rewards checking account with 3.5% annual percentage yield on your account balance and 1% cash back. Here's a chance for Lone Peak and safely into the hands of Jackson Dingus. Lone Peak doing a good job with the high press to win that one back as Cubillas on his left. Cubillas gets around two. Cubillas into the box, taking a shot across the face of goal, and it goes out of bounds and out. Cubillas with a huge chance there for Lone Peak. Can't put it on frame, tried to pick out that far post. And instead goes out of bounds and out for the goal kick. Good opportunity for Lone Peak. Still deadlocked at 0-0. Dingus will boot this one away. Quickly won back by Lone Peak. Halvo with the heavy touch, trying to get it out to Luke Lovelady, who gives chase. Here's Lovelady. This is Cubillas. Brinkerhoff is there. Nettesheim playing it to Hess. Connect. Lewis Connect. Plays it through. Gets it to Jaden Brown. Brown with the opportunity here. Brown trying to get it back to Osborne. Does. Osborne with the shot across the face of goal. And out of bounds and out. A throw-in for Lone Peak. Good opportunity there for American Fork. Moments after Lone Peak had a chance of their own, but Osborne can't put it on frame. Out of bounds and out. Another throw-in coming up for the visiting side, excuse me. As Gavin Nash will throw it in. Brown, heavy touch. Ball at Lewis Connect. Connect looking for options. Cuts it back. Gets past two. Goes out wide to Brown. Brown trying to get that ball into Jackson Noble, and instead it comes back out for American Fork. This is Connect. Nice defensive play there from Halvo. American Fork still in possession. Miller Hall losing out on the ball. Nettesheim has to poke it away, but here come Lone Peak. Ball floated in, and nicely done by Nettesheim to read that one. Ball back with Hall. Hall plays it up the sideline to Jaden Brown. Nicely defended by Luke Lovelady, as he'll just let that one go out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up for Lone Peak. Substitutions coming up for the Knights as well.
Subbing in for the Knights, number 15,
Kean Sid checking in for Lone Peak. And back onto the pitch is Rafa Morales. Ball back in play only momentarily. Out of bounds once more. Throw in here for the Knights. Comes down to Shin. Heavy touch to Rafa Morales. Ball given away. Jaden Brown trying to play it through to Connect. Zabrisky's there to win it back. Goes out wide to Cubillas. Cubillas gets it up the sideline. Now ball back into Juan Cubillas. Shin. Shin into the box, taking the shot. And it goes over the bar and out, but not a bad look there from Shin. The senior midfielder taking the shot with 4 defenders around him, just couldn't keep it on frame. And a goal kick coming up here for the Cavemen. 3 minutes left to go in this first half, all tied up at 0-0 between the two teams sitting at the top of Region 3 and the two teams sitting at the top of the 6A RPI rankings, number 1 and number 2. Sid trying to keep that one in bounds. Instead, it'll go out of bounds and out. Throw-in coming up here for American Fork. Gavin Nash will throw it in. Ball lands at Campbell. Poke through to Morales. Now here's Cubillas. Cubillas from distance, trying to float one in. And Jackson Dingus doing a good job reading it off his line to collect. Out of bounds over on that far sideline as Lovelady will throw it in. Ball goes back to Quentin Bailey. Shin goes out wide to Lovelady. Ball over the top by Bailey. Nettisheim's there. Clears it away. One back by Lone Peak. Here's Cubillas. Nice switch of play to Campbell. Here's Zabriskie. Zabriskie again for Lone Peak. 1:30 is all that's left here in the first. Morales. Back to Zabriskie. He'll go all the way back to Quentin Bailey. Zabriskie again. Nice little bit of possession here for Lone Peak. Goes out wide to Morales. Everybody crowding here on the near sideline. Morales goes back to Zabriskie. Goes across to Bailey. Bailey looking for options. Has time and space. Bailey trying to play one into Sid. Instead, it'll go into the hands of Jackson Dingus. Under a minute to play here in the first half. Nicely done by Connect to keep his footing. Ball comes across. One back by Lone Peak. Campbell. In the middle now for Zabriskie with 25 seconds left. Zabriskie with time and space. Goes out wide to Lovelady. Everybody now running into the box. Lovelady plays it into Cubillas. Into the box is Cubillas. Juan Cubillas goes to ground. Still an opportunity for Lone Peak. The shot takes a deflection, goes out of bounds and out. A corner kick coming up. And everybody wanted the foul, wanted the PK, but we'll get a corner for the home side. Couldn't get the corner in on time prior to the expiration of the clock, and that'll do it here for the first half. Big play there at the end with moments left. It looked like Lone Peak might have had a shot at a penalty. Instead, that'll end the first half. Both sides with good opportunities. Both sides high-scoring sides, but right now defense is what prevails here in the first half. All knotted up at 0-0 as we head to the halftime break. The boys soccer game of the week is brought to you by Tab Bank. Tab Bank, home of the Tab Spend Rewards checking account with 3.5% annual percentage yield on your account balance and 1% cash back on all eligible purchases. But great rewards are just the beginning. Convenient online and mobile banking with no hidden or complex qualification requirements, no minimum opening balance, and no account fees. It's a big deal. Member FDIC. Tab Bank, proud sponsor of the Rewind Sports Network. Don't go anywhere. Second half action on the other side when we return here on KSLSports.com.
With a Tab Spend checking account, you earn big rewards. It's hard to not make a scene.
Cash or card?
Oh, my card's right here.
That's a big card.
You should see how much it's earned me. Sorry, Grandma. Tab Spend isn't just another checking account. It's packed with benefits.
How do I get one?
Just scan this QR code or go to tabbank.com. It's all online and super easy to get started.
And I want to welcome you back into Lone Peak High School as we have Region 3 boys soccer action underway. Second half getting ready to start here between the Lone Peak Knights and the American Fork Cavemen. Good first half between both sides, all tied up at 0-0 as we start second half action. It's the Lone Peak Knights in the black going to the right of your screen here in the second half. And it is the American Fork Cavemen in their visiting whites going to the left. Shot from distance, and it goes into the back of the net! Oh, what a start to the second half! Stevenson with a rocket into the bottom corner, and Stevenson puts the Knights ahead. A golazo to start the second half. Lone Peak take the lead. Patrick Stevenson. Goal number 7 on this season for number 11. Huge goal and a huge start to the second half. As now we'll have the official coming over the near sideline. The clock was supposed to stop after the goal was scored. The clock still hasn't stopped. A minute into the second half, and Stevenson opens the scoring. And we'll put 39-39 back on the clock. Well, how will the American Fork respond? Just the 11th goal conceded on the season for the Cavemen as Lone Peak take the lead here at home. Thanks to a rocket from Patrick Stevenson. Throw-in coming up for the visiting side here on that far sideline. Ball back in play here as Lone Peak regain possession. Up to Stevenson, the goal scorer. Gets it to Cubillas. Cubillas floats one in over the top. Goes in behind the defense. And off his line, reads it well, Jackson Dingus. Huge opportunity there for Lone Peak. Great read by the senior goalkeeper. Off his line and collects. Ball goes out of bounds and out. Throw-in coming up for the Knights. Over on that far sideline. And they'll change it. A free kick coming up for American Fork. Brinkeroff will boot this one away. As Rosenthal goes to ground, another whistle and another foul will call. This one again goes against the home side. Opportunity here for American Fork to tie it up. Set piece opportunity off the free kick. See what the Cavemen are able to do. Ball whipped in, goes into the box, headed away, and cleared away by the Knights. Miller Hall. Miller Hall trying to get around the Knights. One back nicely by Lovelady. Lovelady, early contender for player of the game. He's been everywhere defensively for this Lone Peak side. Dingus plays it to the near sideline for Ben Hess. Heavy touch by Hess. Cubillas trying to win it back. Does. And a good idea there by Stevenson to try to get it back out wide to Cubillas, but won back by American Fork. Ball cleared away by Dingus. Miller Hall losing out possession. Here's Shin for Lone Peak. Out to Cubillas. Ball goes out wide to Luke Lovelady. Step there by Dimitri Larson. It goes out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up here for the home side. Cubillas tries to whip it in. And Morales off the ball. Almost went back by American Fork. It'll come back the other way. A whistle as it comes off of the official. Ball going back here to the Lone Peak Knights. Rafa Morales plays it to Bailey. Bailey out wide to Lovelady. Here's Bailey. Cubillas out wide. Lovelady. Takes a deflection. It goes out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up for the home side. Lovelady to throw it in. Gets it into Cubillas. Back quickly to Lovelady. In the middle to the goal scorer, Stevenson. Stevenson goes back to Bailey. Bailey with time and space, looking for options. Plays it into Morales. Rafa Morales. Across to Cubillas. In now for Stevenson. And one back by Jaden Brown. American Fork here in possession. Now quickly trying to get down the other way. Bailey comes across. Wins it back for Lone Peak. Goes and supports himself with Sam Parker. Substitution at the halftime break. In net for Lone Peak. Has Sam Parker now in between the sticks. Replacing Max Candle, who held the clean sheet in the first half. See if Parker's able to do the same here in the second. Lone Peak lead it 1-0. 34-28 left to go. A whistle and a foul called. Free kick coming up here for the Lone Peak Knights. Ball played in. Lovelady. Connect. Tries to poke it through. Does. Osborne can't get on the end of it. And one back by Jaggy. Ball comes out wide to Cubillas. Cubillas cuts inside. Looking for options. Floats one into the box. And Jackson Dingus off his line. Collects and reads it well. American Fork trying to get down the other way as they trail. Rosenthal plays it in for Miller Hall. Hall to Dimitri Larson. Larson plays it back to Ben Hess. Hess to Hall. Ball stolen away. Here come the Knights. Lovelady. Nicely cut out by Nettishheim. Jaden Brown with the touch. Brings it in. Carries for American Fork. Goes out wide. Rosenthal trying to get it back into Jaden Brown. Off his line is Sam Parker. And Parker reads it well. Ball recovered by Lone Peak. Here's Bailey looking for options. Goes back to Zabriskie. Zabriskie playing it to Morales. This is Jaggy. Now Morales. Goes all the way back to Parker. Parker plays it across to Bailey. Possession here across the back for Lone Peak. Just keeping the ball away from American Fork. Miller Hall. For the Cavemen, it's Hess. Now Larson. Dimitri Larson playing it back out wide to Hess. Hess pressured by Cubillas. Ball ends up at Rosenthal. Now here's Hall. Hall tries to play one through. Nicely cleared away by Lone Peak. Brinkeroff gets ahead on it. Goes out of bounds and out. Throw-in coming up here for the home side. Lone Peak with possession. Rafa Morales. To Zabriskie. Zabriskie losing out possession. Here comes an opportunity for American Fork. Lewis Connect into the box. Gets around two. And losing out possession. Huge defensive play by Lone Peak. Good recovery as well. Now quickly going down the other way on the counterattack. It's Cubillas who plays it to Stevenson. Stevenson with an opportunity. Takes a left-footed shot and a save by Dingus. Quick counterattack from Lone Peak. And a nice save by Dingus. Now coming the other way is American Fork. Bailey takes a step, wins possession back, has all the time and space here in the middle of the park. Bailey goes down. Larson wins it back. This is Jaden Brown. Good tackle and one back by Lone Peak. Here's Lovelady. Lovelady. Nettesheim comes across, makes the challenge. A whistle and a foul called, and we'll have a stoppage in play. And Nettesheim. So we'll see the yellow card caution. And we'll have to sub out. Lovelady and Lone Peak were on the attack. If he got past Nettesheim, Lovelady would be in one-on-one with Dingus. Nettesheim commits the foul and gets cautioned. Free kick coming up here for Lone Peak in a dangerous spot. Four on the wall for American Fork. Everybody else lined up at the top of the 18. 30:51 left to go. Lone Peak leads it 1-0. Larkin and Stevenson, the goal scorers, standing over it to take. Dingus setting up his wall at his near post. Lone runner in Morales near the top of the 18. Stevenson, low driven shot comes crashing off the wall. And Larkin doing a good job to try to keep that one in bounds. It'll go out of bounds. And a throw in here for the home side. Lovelady to throw it in. Stevenson gets it to Larkin, but the offside flag is raised. Free kick coming up here for American Fork. Opportunity to clear their lines off the offsides. Dingus will boot this one away for the visitors. 10 minutes played here in the second half. Lone Peak up 1-0. Thanks to Patrick Stevenson. Miller Hall trying to get that ball through. Morales wins it back. American Fork doing a good job to regain possession. Osborne to Brown. Brown into the box. Brown with the shot. Goes across the face of goal. And it goes out of bounds and out for the corner kick. They'll say it took a deflection off of the Lone Peak defender. And a corner kick opportunity coming up here for American Fork. Corner kick for the Cavemen. Set piece opportunity. Ball whipped in. Right into the mix. American Fork still here with the ball. Brown taking a shot from distance. Comes crashing off the post and out of bounds. Huge opportunity there for American Fork. Brown hitting a rocket from distance. And it goes out of bounds and out. Biggest chance here for American Fork of this second half. And it comes from that shot from distance. A goal kick coming up here for Lone Peak as Parker will get this one away. Plays it to Zabriskie. Zabriskie looking for options. Gets it to Morales. Morales to Shin. Out wide now to Lovelady. Nice step by Larson. Out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up for the home side. Ball booted away by Brinkeroff. Here's Stevenson, the goal scorer. Back to Patrick Stevenson, who takes a shot from distance. Dingus forced into the save. The rebound. It's into the back of the net. And the Lone Peak Knights double their advantage.
Goal! Lone Peak Knights, Zachary Campbell.
Zach Campbell at the back post. The rebound puts it in. Stevenson, who had the initial shot, Dingus makes the big save, but spills it to his back post, where two Lone Peak runners were crashing in, completely unmarked. And Campbell puts the rebound into the back of the net. 2-0 Lone Peak lead it, 27-31 left to go. How will American Fork respond? The team who has been so good and so dangerous on the attack. 43 goals scored on this season. Lewis Connect, one of the top goal scorers in the state, but right now being stifled by a very good Lone Peak defense. Still plenty of time left here in this second half, as Jaden Brown can't keep that one from going out. A throw-in coming up for the home side over on the far sideline. Lone Peak playing it in quickly. Ball went back by the Cavemen. Dimitri Larson. Larson plays it out wide to Nash. Nash gets past one, crosses it in, cleared away by Quentin Bailey. Ball bounces over Stevenson. Back in possession, here's the Cavemen. Floated in and booted away. Comes out to Morales. Comes across to Lovelady. Lovelady gets past one. Up the sideline. Stevenson gets it to Cubillas. Does a good job to keep that one in. Here's Shin. Shin crosses it to Campbell, the goal scorer. In the middle now for Lovelady. Plays it to Stevenson. Cuts inside into the box. Takes a shot. And this time collected by Jackson Dingus. Similarly to Campbell's goal, Stevenson doing a good job cutting it to his left, taking the dangerous shot. This time Jackson Dingus able to collect. Lone Peak back in possession. Bailey plays it across to Campbell. And that one will go all the way back to Parker. Ball booted away. And one back by American Fork. This is Lovelady. Ball floated in. Giving chase is Nash. Dingus off his line, clears it away. Substitution here for the home side as Jonas Lamont checking in, as well as Blake Stewart. Checking out is number 21, Tyler Whitting, and number 7, the goal scorer, in Zach Campbell. Shot from distance goes over the bar and out for the goal kick. Had the power. Got too much under it. Didn't get the placement. Goal kick coming up here for American Fork. 23:45 left to go in this second half. A 2-goal lead for the Knights. American Fork back in possession. This is Miller Hall. Almost lost the ball. Is able to poke it back to Gavin Nash. Nash will go all the way back to his goalkeeper in Jackson Dingus. Dingus boots this one to the near sideline. Hess, heavy touch. Out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up for Lone Peak in the attacking third. Quickly taken. Cubillas up the sideline. One back by Connect. Connect loses out possession. Here's Stevenson. Plays it back to Cubillas. Out wide to Lovelady. Lovelady boots one in over the top. Cleared away by Brinkeroff. Throw in coming up for Lone Peak. And a warning there from the official and says, hey, let's speed it up here a little bit. Throwing as Lovelady to take. Into the box. Takes a bounce and cleared away by American Fork. A corner kick coming up for Lone Peak. And another opportunity here for the home side to just watch the clock wind down. Corner kick coming up for Lone Peak. Cubillas to take for the home side. Cubillas floats one in. And a header that goes over the bar. Close and good opportunity there for Lone Peak to extend this lead. Elijah Jaggi with the header. Just couldn't redirect it on frame. Tried to sneak it into that top corner. And instead goes out of bounds and out for the goal kick. Dingus will boot this one away. Giving chase, it's Stewart. Ball goes out of bounds and out for the Lone Peak throw-in. Ball back in play with the Knights. Here's Stewart. Can't get around his mark. Nicely defended by American Fork. Ball goes back out of bounds and out. Another throw-in coming up for the Knights. 2-0 the scoreline here with 20 minutes left to go in the second half. Goals coming from Patrick Stevenson and Zachary Campbell. Here's Lovelady. Lone Peak trying to extend their lead. Quickly one back by American Fork. Del Larson plays it to Connect. Ball one back by the Knights. Out wide. Nice turn by Stewart. Can't keep that one in. Out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up for the visiting side. Miller Hall losing out possession. Here's the Knights back with the ball. Gubler wins it back. Here's Larson for American Fork. Turns. Carries. Osborne pokes it out to Brown. Brown plays it back to Nash. Nash back in the middle for Hall. Miller Hall. Nice little bit of possession here for American Fork. Haven't had too much of the ball here in this second half as a heavy pass from Nedesheim. And it goes out of bounds and out. Ben Hess couldn't get on the end of it. A throw-in coming up for Lone Peak. Taken quickly. Lovelady plays it in. It's Zabriskie. Pressured. Back to Bailey. Larson with the press. Gets a touch. One back by American Fork. Here's Connect. Cuts it to his left. Inside. Into the box. Connect Gets it to Larson. Larson plays it out wide to Hess. Hess crosses it in, goes back post. Punched away by Parker. And he goes out of bounds, and now a throw-in coming up for American Fork in the attacking third. Parker off his line. Punches it away. And denies the chance for American Fork. Ball whipped in. Trying to take a shot from distance there. Gubler can't hit it cleanly. A counterattack come the other way for Lone Peak. Here comes Gubias. Gubias giving chase. Has a chance now to cut inside. Does. Into the box. Left-footed shot. Takes a deflection. And comes out. Still Lone Peak in possession with Morales, who plays it to Shin. Shin back out wide to Lovelady. Lovelady into Gubias. Lovelady trying to get it back to Stevenson. Goes out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up for the Cavemen. Taken quick. Hess loses out possession. Nice turn by Stevenson. The cross comes in, goes far post. Takes a deflection. It goes out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up for American Fork over on the far sideline. Good opportunity for Lone Peak. The cross came in well. Just couldn't get on the end of it. Blake Stewart. Throw in for American Fork. Ball back in play with the Cavemen. Quickly won back by Lone Peak. Ball comes back to Bailey. Bailey crosses the 50. And now one back by Lovelady in the attacking third. Here comes Luke Lovelady. Does a good job. Keeps it in. And a player goes to ground. A free kick coming up for American Fork. .16:53 as time begins to wind down for the Cavemen. Do they have a goal to get them back in this one? If they can just find the one, can grow a little bit of confidence here in this second half. Quickly one back by Lone Peak. Lovelady gets it to Stevenson. Now back out wide to Gubias. Gubias trying to get past Ben Hess. Goes to ground. The whistle and a foul called as Gubias called for the foul. Hess down after the play. It'll be Brinkeroff to take. Now Hess plays it close to Dingus. Dingus will boot this one away. Connect. Brings it down. Gets it to Hall. Hall to Miller. To Larson. Back to Miller Hall. Connect. Goes down. The whistle and a foul called. Connect. Gets called for the foul. Free kick here for the Cavemen. Dangerous opportunity here. See if Gubler or Ben Hess decide to go for goal. Hess from distance. Saved by Parker. Nicely done by Sam Parker at his near post, the junior goalkeeper. Reads and collects. Ball booted away, one back by the Cavemen. This will go all the way back to Dingus. Ball booted out over the top. Here's Nash, plays it out wide to Brown. Now back out wide to Brown. Opportunity for the Cavemen. Brown cuts inside, gets it to connect. Heavy touch. Bailey comes across, and Bailey boots this one away. A throw-in coming up for American Fork here on the near sideline. Substitutions getting ready to come on for the Knights. We'll wait for the next play. Throw-in for American Fork. Into the box, cleared away by Lone Peak. Larson trying to track it down. One back by Gubias. Cuts inside. Gubias up the sideline. Nettesheim's there. Wins it back for his side. Nettesheim for the Cavemen. Quickly one back. Zabriskie, heavy touch. Nettesheim plays it into Larson. Larson with time and space. Goes out wide to Gavin Nash. Brings it in. Nicely defended there by Lone Peak. Out of bounds and out. A throw-in for the Cavemen. Miller Hall pokes one in over the top. Looking for Brown. Cleared away by Lone Peak. Lone Peak bringing in possession. This is Stevenson. Comes across to Cubillas. Leaves it for Lovelady. Lovelady. Nice step defensively by Connect. And now here comes that's Gubler. Quickly one back by Lone Peak. This is Stevenson. Floats one in to Lovelady. Brinkeroff is there. And a foul as Lovelady. So it gives a little push in the back. Dingus for American Fork will boot this one away. One back by Lone Peak, a handball, the whistle, and a foul called. Free kick coming up here for the Cavemen. It'll be Brinkeroff to take. Brinkeroff will boot this one over the top. Ball comes down to Larson. Larson plays it to Hall. Hall tried to get it into the box. Nicely defended by Lone Peak. Ball goes out wide. Opportunity here for American Fork. Into the box. Goes down. The whistle. And a foul called. We'll see exactly where the spot of the foul is. That's what the official's heading over there to talk to his assistant. Was it inside the box? Conversations here being had. American Fork thinks it's inside the box. It should be a penalty. Lone Peak pleading their case. And now pointing to the spot, a penalty called. And Lewis Connect from 12 yards out can put American Fork back into this one. 11:15 left to go in the second half. Down by 2. Connect against Parker. From 12 yards out, Lewis Connect. The run-up, the shot, and puts it into the back of the net. The Cavemen pull one back. Lewis Connect. Goal number 20 on this season. And with 11:15 left to go in the second half, down by 1 with plenty of time. Number 99, Connect. 20 goals on the season. Substitutions coming up here for Lone Peak. Taylor Hurley checking in. Simon Irwin also into the game. And checking back in, Zachary Campbell for the Knights. Coming off, the goal scorer, Patrick Stevenson. Shin coming off as well. And it looks like that's Jonas Lamont. Ball back in play. That far sideline over there, the visiting sideline, on their feet, making noise. Confidence has grown here for the Cavemen. after that goal. Gavin Nash up the sideline. Can't keep it in. It goes out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up for Lone Peak over on that far sideline. Now the Lone Peak sideline on their feet, getting loud in response to American Fork's sideline. Ball back in play. Larson cuts back, gets it to Hess. Hess back to Larson. Larson against two. Gubias goes to ground, the whistle, and a foul called. And the sides have to be separated here. Frustration starting to mount for both sides. Lone Peak want to hold on to this 1-0 lead. American Fork so desperately trying to get back in it. Yellow card caution issued to Lovelady. He'll have to sub off. And a yellow card caution here issued to Dimitri Larson. Both sides with the yellow cards. Third yellow card of the night to Larson. Free kick coming up for Lone Peak as we get ready to resume play. Bailey gets the ball back in. Campbell can't bring it in. Goes out of bounds and out. And that American Fork sideline. Loud. Whistle and a foul will call. The free kick, it goes. See what the call is here. It is out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up for American Fork over on that far sideline. Miller Hall to throw it in. With 9:41 left to go. Ball brought in and down. Goes out wide to Hess. Ball whipped in, goes back post, headed away by Lone Peak. Connect is there, can't get on the end of it. Larson brings it in. Larson checking back in after the yellow card. Larson into the box. And it goes out of bounds and out. Nicely defended by Campbell and the Lone Peak Knights. Goal kick coming up here for Lone Peak. And a substitution in the offing as well as the home side as Patrick Stevenson, the goal scorer, checking back in.
Subbing in for the Knights, number 11, Patrick Stevenson.
Parker will boot this one away. Ball back in now with American Fork. Gubler plays it out wide. Ball trying to get it through to Jackson Noble. Cleared away by Lone Peak. Gubias trying to bring it down. Can't. It goes out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up here for the visiting side. Hess to throw it in. Hess looking for Noble. One back by Lone Peak. Miller Hall wins it back. Gubler. Ball out wide now to Osborne. Osborne playing it through, trying to connect with Miller Hall. One back by the Lone Peak Knights. Hess comes across, makes the challenge. Ball through to Jackson Noble. He's into the box, takes the shot, and Parker has to come up. No, they'll say Parker didn't touch it. A goal kick coming up. Well, from up here, it looked like Sam Parker made the save with the very tip of his fingertip. And we'll have a goal kick instead for Lone Peak. 7:20 left to go. Ball cleared away. Gubias for the Knights. Out wide to Campbell, the goal scorer. Campbell floats one in. Headed away by Nettesheim. Gubler trying to go the other way. Out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up for the Cavemen. Hess. Goes near sideline, back to Hess. Nettesheim. It's a Larson. Larson turns, trying to get it back to Hess. Can't connect. It goes out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up for the home side.
Stepping into the nice number 16, Jackson Halvo.
Substitution is Halvo checking into the game. Or excuse me, it'll be Taylor Hurley checking in. Hurley brings it in. And it goes out of bounds and out. Throw-in coming up for the Cavemen. Larson. Ball booted away by Bailey. Knights trying to clear their lines. American Fork quickly winning the ball back. This is Miller Hall. Playing it out wide to Gavin Nash. Campbell comes up, steps, and makes the defensive challenge. Out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up for American Fork over on that far sideline. We'll have a stoppage in play as Campbell might be down after the play. .536 left to go in the second half. A penalty from Lewis Connect cut the lead in half. 2-1 scoreline. Can Lone Peak hold on? Or will American Fork be able to find the equalizer and send this one to OT? Campbell back on his feet. He'll have to come off. The substitution coming up here as Lovelady getting ready to check back in. Seth Larkin also getting ready for Lone Peak.
Stepping into the Knights, number 17, Seth Larkin. Number 4, Luke Lovelady.
Ball back in play here with American Fork. Out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up for the home side. Or excuse me, a free kick coming up for the home side. Opportunity here to boot this one away, Lone Peak. Nettesheim. Miller Hall bringing it in for the Cavemen. Up the sideline, Gavin Nash can't keep it in. It goes out of bounds and out. The throw-in for Lone Peak. Another substitution getting ready to come on. We'll have a stoppage in play to allow that substitution as Zachary Campbell back into the game.
Stepping in for the Knights, number 7, Zach Campbell.
Zach Campbell, one of the goal scorers. As it stands right now, the winning goal for Lone Peak. Out of bounds once more. A throw-in coming up over on the far sideline. Ball one back by American Fork. Here come the Cavemen on the attack. Nicely defended by Campbell. One back by Miller, or excuse me, that now it's Miller Hall. Loses out possession. Here's Stevenson. Plays it out wide to Lovelady. Lovelady up the sideline to Cubillas. Cubillas cuts inside, looking for options. Gets it to Rafa Morales. Larson comes across, commits the foul as he takes down Rafa Morales. And a free kick for Lone Peak. Opportunity again here to watch the clock wind down. Cubillas gets it to Morales. Morales cuts back, gets it to Lovelady. Lovelady out wide to Cubillas. Gubias into Lovelady. And he goes out of bounds and out. The throw-in coming up here for the home side. Goes back to Quentin Bailey. Bailey boots it up. Ball filtered through. Dingus off his line. Has to just clear this one away. Big opportunity as Seth Larkin was creeping up on the end of it. Dingus. Throw-in coming up here for the home side. Lovelady gets it in. Ball one back by American Fork as Nettesheim will boot it away. Ball comes off of the Cavemen, out of bounds and out over on that far sideline. Throw-in coming up for the home side. 2:45 left to go. Stevenson booted away by Nettesheim. Connect. Back to Nash. Nash boots it up over the top. American Fork still trying to battle out possession here. They do. Here's Gubler. Or excuse me, that's Connect. Connect commits the foul as the Lone Peak player is down after the play. We'll have a stoppage in play as Cubillas is down. Connect commits the foul. A free kick coming up here for Lone Peak. 2:11 left to go. And Cubillas still down. Now gingerly back on his feet, the senior in Juan Cubillas. Good to see him back on his feet, but limping off here for the Knights. Substitution, Lone Peak. As Sawyer Dahl checking in.
Subbing for the Knights, number 3, Gabe Bradshaw.
Ball back in play here with Lone Peak. Larson winning it back for American Fork. Noble trying to get the pass off quickly. One back by Lone Peak. And now an interception, and here come the Cavemen. Bailey makes the defensive challenge. Stevenson. Now Larson, American Fork back in possession. Here's Dimitri Larson to Connect. Gubler. Miller Hall trying to get it back to Osborne. Osborne comes across, steals the ball away. No foul. Osborne trying to poke it through. With 1:15 left to go. One back by the Knights. Ball cut back. Out to Campbell. Lone Peak here with time and space. Here's Stevenson. Comes out wide to Lovelady. Heavy touch. Cuts back inside. Nicely done by Lovelady. Jackson Noble trying to win possession back. Takes a heavy deflection as it goes out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up here for American Fork with 40 seconds left. Got to take it quick. Connect, lets it bounce. Connect, past the 50, booted away by Zabriskie. Stevenson trying to bring it in. Larson trying to win it back. Now here's Stevenson, who's taking it into the box, gets past Nash. The shot from distance over the bar and out. A goal kick coming up here. Time winding down, 10 seconds left. Ball booted away. Hurley out wide to Lovelady, and that will do it.
And that's the final.
A huge win for the Lone Peak Knights at the top of Region 3. Pending the result for the Sky Ridge Falcons, the three-way tie at the top of Region 3 has just turned into 2. Down go the defending champions. Down goes American Fork. Lone Peak guaranteed, at minimum, a share of that region title. (2-1) the final score, thanks to goals from Patrick Stevenson to open the scoring early in the first half. Zach Campbell scored a second. Lewis Connect pulled one back off the penalty. But it's not enough for American Fork, as Lone Peak will walk out victorious. Update on the score: Skyridge won 4-1 against Westlake. And so we'll have a two-way tie at the top of Region 3 soccer as we head into the final day of action on Friday. Just going to keep it here momentarily to see if the region trophy makes an appearance here for Lone Peak. We'll take this time an opportunity to remind you that the Rewind Sports Network brought to you by Tab Bank. Tab Bank, home of the Tab Spend Rewards checking account with 3.5% annual percentage yield on your account balance and 1% cash back on eligible purchases. But great rewards are just the beginning. Convenient online and mobile banking with no hidden or complex qualification requirements, no minimum opening balance, and no account fees. It's a big deal. Member FDIC. And we thank those at Tab Bank. All right, so the Lone Peak Knights minimum will share the region title. Everything to play for in the final day of Region 3 soccer. That's going to do it for us here on the Rewind Sports Network on KSLSports.com. Alex Napolis, big shout out to Tito on the camera, and from the entire Rewind Sports family, we thank you for watching. Everyone have a good night, and we'll see you on Friday for the final day of regular season 6A play